Hello everyone, Pallytime here. We are gonna do a pointless patch video about the patch insights that the developers just released. This is for the open beta patch, I'm assuming. In the background, you're gonna see some Illidan gameplay. This was the game I just did to unlock my master skin. And I thought we could talk about the developer insights. If you would like to read along with me, there is going to be a link in the video description if you haven't read it already. And right at the top of the insights, of course, they're talking about one of my favorite talents in the whole game, the healing ward. They said it's one of the most commonly picked talents, and rightfully so. I don't want to quote them too much here, but if you didn't know already, the healing ward was a talent that most healers could get really early on in the game, and it provides a ton of AoE healing, but the healing ward can be auto-attacked and killed by the enemy team. Basically, it's no longer going to be susceptible to just auto-attacks, and instead, any enemy that has area of effect abilities will also be able to target these healing wards with those abilities. They did this in the past as well. It was in the alpha, I believe. Basically, whenever you put a healing ward down during that particular patch, it didn't actually stay too long, but whenever you put a healing ward down, when it was susceptible to spells, it would just die. Like, it was like you didn't even have one. So apparently there's going to be a little bit of scaling with this, but the idea is they don't want you putting your healing ward down immediately in the middle of a fight. They want you to think about the positioning of it, try to hide it off to the side and use it when you need it, and keep it out of the way of the enemy team, basically. Also, they are changing the healing ward's target priority. What does that mean? Well, basically what people were doing before, you could hold down the Alt key and then press 1, or whatever number the healing ward was assigned to, and that would self-cast the healing ward immediately under your character. And as long as your character didn't move, and I guess you could still do this for the time being, just for the record, target priority dictates that any player trying to hit the ward will hit you instead. So it's a good way to protect your ward, and they're basically trying to nullify that tactic, which, probably a pretty good idea. They're also addressing ETC and Diablo. Basically, they said they're going to be tweaking these two characters because I guess they recognize that they're the only warriors that people are picking these days. One thing I think is interesting is that they're actually giving them some new talents as well. They said they're going to be doing some nerfs in this as well, changing around some talents, but Diablo is not going to have Storm Shield anymore, and he's going to get a new talent called Lord of Terror. The ability will be activated, and it's an AoE lifesteal. So Blood for Blood is the only other lifesteal ability in the game, and it's a generic talent. A lot of characters can get Blood for Blood. We don't know how much life this, what is it called, Lord of Terror, is going to be actually stealing. But Blood for Blood is 15%. So if Diablo could jump into a whole group of people and steal 15% life from all of them, that could be ridiculously strong. But basically they said they want Diablo to be in the middle of fights, and this could help him stay in the middle of fights, but which I didn't know that was something he was struggling with. ETC is going to get a new ultimate, kind of reminiscent of the old Uther. Now when ETC dies, if he picks this talent, he's going to do an automatic mosh pit on the spot. He's going to be a ghost, and he's going to mosh pit. Now, this ghost cannot move around. It's just going to be the memory of the rock legend, I guess, and he's going to be mosh pitting, and it sounds like that's about it. It doesn't sound like it's going to do much of anything else, but it is a free mosh pit. So theoretically, you could use your mosh pit, go and die, and then mosh pit again, which could be crazy powerful. So they're really going to have to change up his talents a lot. Otherwise, ETC is just going to be the automatic pick for everyone, more so than he already is. So they're also going to be changing Abathur a little bit. We've already discussed this, not disgusted by this, but we've already discussed this in the past, in the previous Abathur videos. If you don't know already, the strategy has been around since alpha, but all of a sudden it just blew up all over Reddit and everyone's been talking about it. I'm not too sure why, but backdoor Abathur has been a strategy for a long time. You get global mines, you backdoor behind keeps and forts and things like that, You send out your ranged locust, you spawn more locusts, you set the locust hive down or whatever it's called, and basically you can push any lane with that global mine and then hit B and go back to your base really, really quickly. And all of a sudden they decided that was a problem. Basically, just as fast as everyone, just as fast as this became a thing everyone was doing, Blizzard noticed it and decided they didn't want it to be a thing that everyone was doing. One of the main reasons they're countering that, which is what I thought was going to happen, is they're just reducing the range of the locusts so they can no longer outrange turrets, which I think is a perfectly fine change. Absolutely fine change. I mean, that's totally reasonable. They're also saying that those locusts had more health than they were supposed to, and they're going to be scaling back the health of the ranged locust, which I think is weird. It's not like they had a ton of health in the first place. I mean, they're just going to die faster now. They're also, keep in mind, going to be in tower range, so they only survived 2, maybe 3 tower hits before. So essentially, if they don't have a minion wave pushing with them, they're just going to die now. That's what it comes down to. To help Abathurs out, though, they are increasing the damage of stab, which I guess they're trying to re-incentivize you to play a team-based Abathur, because they want you, like, using your Q on things, which is also good for the monstrosity as well, but it just seems like a really weird, like, oh, we took this from you, but don't worry, you still have this. It just seems like insignificant and completely irrelevant to the changes that they're making right now. One of the most exciting things in the patch notes is definitely the changes to a new Barrak. Basically, his win rate was discussed at PAX East and it was abysmal, and they said they were going to be making some changes, and finally, those changes are coming. One of the biggest things that needed to happen to a new Barrak is his beetles will now prioritize their targets. Now, will that be the target of a new Barrak? Like, if a new Barrak right-clicks on something, will the beetles follow suit? I hope so. I really hope so. Because right now in the game, and one of the main reasons I don't play a new Barrak and don't think he's a very valuable character at all, is you could be walking around spawning beetles and they'll just be walking off doing their own things. I have videos on this channel of me trying to take a mercenary camp with a new Barrak and then the beetles just piecing the fuck out while I'm fighting the mercenary camp, and it's easily the closest target. They'll just like leave and walk to a lane and completely ignore it. So hopefully these AI improvements are enough. Maybe beetle build will actually be a thing now and a new Barrak can have his old playstyle back, or at least the playstyle a lot of people were trying when he was first released. I'm really excited for these changes. They brought up the topic of Chen. Once again, at PAX East, they said that Chen has a low win rate, and a lot of people were suggesting some improvements for Chen, and I'm in that boat. I think he's a little on the weak side, but they said that basically at high MMRs, Chen's great, which, I mean, it's great if you call moving people around with a barrel. I mean, that's about the only thing he's good for in games these days. But they want to keep a close eye on his win rate, and in the future, as we continue to adjust each patch, we may make slight changes to Chen and his talents. Guys, if you didn't play Chen prior to this patch, he used to be so much stronger. He could jump in with his Q, root a target in place, then do a critical hit after, drink from his barrel, and then do it again in like 3 seconds. He could do so much single target damage, he had so much sustain. He could slow people down, and his ultimate, the one with the 3 people, didn't have that channeling time to start it. Basically right now, if you get stunned while you're trying to split off into those 3 forms, you have... do you lose your ultimate, or do you just have to wait 10 seconds? I can't quite remember. But basically, a lot of Chens used to use that to survive and jump in and out of fights and deal a lot of damage. Now, that ultimate is basically never used, and everyone just pushes everyone around with the barrel, which, I mean, I guess is fun to watch, but I just feel like he's a lot more limited than it used to be, and I do hope they revisit Chen, because I think he needs a little bit of love. Moving on to Illidan, they basically said that he's in a fine spot. Yes, he's a strong assassin. Yes, he's an aggressive assassin, but his win rate is within their threshold, and statistically, he's not an outlier. I think Illidan is really, really strong in high MMR matches, in those competitive matches. We basically saw Illidan sweep Heroes of the Dorm, right, in the finals. He's a strong character, a really strong character. In the competitive area, in the super high MMRs, in a quick match setting, specifically solo queue, if you pick Illidan, it's a gamble. Illidan needs people to peel for him. Illidan needs healers to keep him alive. And it's also worth mentioning that Illidan only has one build, give or take. You can say that, oh, but there's some variety Pele time. I saw this one guy do this one time, and he won his game. Yeah, okay. I know, but Illidan still only has like one real build, and which is unfortunate. I wish they were going in and kind of adjusting the unpopular talents. At what point, I guess this is a question I want to ask later as well, but at what point do you look at a character's talent diversity and see that there's a problem? And at what point do you see win rates with other talents and see that there's a problem? I really wish I didn't miss our interview time at Heroes of the Dorm. I would have loved to have asked that question. But, in a normal setting, when we're not in top tier play, if you stun Illidan, he dies. If he gets focused by the enemy team, he dies. If he doesn't have two healers behind him, he dies. So I really do think he's in a fine spot. But under the right circumstances, in the right setting, he can be an absolute god on the battlefield. Basically, they're just in this spot. They're just talking about Murky and how proud of themselves that they are. Like, oh, well, we made these changes and Murky turned out great, everybody. You can stop panicking. Basically, living the dream has been the saving grace of Murky. And living the dream is basically picked in every single build, so, whatever. Congratulations on making a character playable again. Now, this is one of the areas that I find interesting. They said that the Vikings continue to trend towards the top of win rates. If you go to hotslogs.com, you will see that since the Vikings have been released, they have been the top win rate champion. They have been at the very peak of win rates this entire time. Blizzard is attributing that to their ability to soak lanes. But keep in mind that when the Vikings were released, their longboat was ridiculously stronger, like 20% stronger than it is right now. And it looks like the longboat is going to be getting some more nerfs. They're only slight, but they're still nerfs. Basically, if the longboat dies while it's activated, like you jump in, you do all of that damage. If the longboat dies, all the Vikings are going to be stunned for 1.5 seconds, which basically means that all of the Vikings are going to die. If you're going up against an enemy team with any semblance of coordination, when the longboat dies, all of the Vikings are going to be in one spot. So it's pretty much guaranteed that they're not going to make it out of that. Unless you just happen to be able to pop all of your defensive cooldowns at one time. Or you're not going up against an entire team in this particular situation. It's going to make positioning a lot more important, but it also means that the Vikings are just going to die. Like, Blizzard intends for it at this point. At least that's what it seems like here. And for play again, they're adding a full heal to all live Vikings in addition to the current functionality. So play again has never been a popular talent. It's a decent talent for split pushing, but it's never been a popular talent. And they're going to go in and adjust that to try to persuade more people to use that ultimate as well, rather than the obvious choice of the Vikings. Or the longboat. I'm good at this. And last but not least, we have the Banshee Queen Sylvanas. Basically, they said that she's in a, quote, fantastic spot when it comes to her win rate, but they realized that literally no one is using possession ever because it's terrible. Oh, it is the worst ultimate in the game. It has to be. It is just awful. Everyone is using Wailing Arrow because it's better in every single situation, even split pushing. They said that they want feedback from the community on how they can help improve it. What I recommend, and you can go about this two different ways, what I recommend is making it so possession has an AoE effect. So let's say a minion wave comes up, that's 7 minions. Let's say If you place it right in the middle on the caster minion, you can take over a full minion wave and have them on your side and have them pushing for you as well now. Now that seems a little strong, so we can add a little bit more coordination to it. How about any enemy or any minion or mercenary camp or whatever that's affected by Sylvanas' passive is able to be possessed, and it's at the time of the possession. So for instance, you could use your W would then spread to all nearby allies, and then you could use possession. But if you don't time it right, maybe you don't take over the full minion wave or something. That would add a little bit more skill to it. But obviously both of those options will require possession to have more than a 4-second cooldown. But anyway, it's 6:45 in the morning. Those are my 2 cents about Blizzard's 2 cents. I'd love to know what you guys think about the patch notes. And as always, this was a pointless video, and you didn't have to watch it, but you did anyway. And I want to thank you. We'll be back with some more Heroes of the Storm gameplay soon, and I'll see you all next time.